Cian Fahey is with us in studio. Good timing here, Cian. We planned that you would be in studio today just because we knew Myles Garrett was going to go off on one last night.
Can I tell you, I can't look at you the same way anymore. Like, Richard has ruined you. I mean, Owen's getting all the abuse, but of those videos, the man in the shirt to me is just the best. Yeah, look, not to detract from the serious nature of what happened last night, but I watched it and I'm trying to look at it and I'm trying to understand it. And it's one of these things where it's got nothing to do with football. Like, Myles Garrett has got this reputation a little bit lately where he's getting a kind of a rough, who's kind of a dirty player idea. But everything up until this point has been like within the football, within the element of the game. Like, he arrives late in the sack and hits the quarterback late, and it's like, yeah, that happens. You know what I mean? You're trying to play the game. You're trying to get to what get to the point in the field that you need to get to, and this is just out of nowhere. It's like, it's confusing because...
Hey, before we get to that, right, so who is Myles Garrett for people tuning in?
Oh, okay, yeah. Myles Garrett was the first overall pick 2 years ago, which means he was the best player coming out of college that year. He is a freakish defensive end. If you've watched any of Hard Knocks, you will have seen this guy is 6'6", 6'7", probably 23, 24 stone, something like that.
Pure
and he's shredded, like he's got a six-pack, he looks like a swimmer. And he is a generational talent. He's also considered to be a very quiet person. He's like acknowledged he's socially uncomfortable. He doesn't know what to do with himself at parties and stuff like that.
He reads and writes poetry.
Yeah, and yet, like, it's a thing we shouldn't do where we assume quiet people are nice people and that, but you think when someone's that reserved, you wouldn't get this kind of thing.
He did the ESPN body issue and he brought his mum to the shoot. So that's the type of person we're talking about here. He didn't have an entourage, a bevy of beauties, as the Star, the Sun might have put it back in the day. It was his ma who came to the ESPN body issue shoot, which is where they all do these artistic nude shots. So he's not your average... He's not your average...
No, he's a superstar. He should be becoming a face of the league. He's one of these people who, defensively right now, it's very hard to be a star, like, because the game is so slanted towards offense. He's one of these guys who's a genuine difference maker because nobody can block him. Like, Jadeveon Clowney had a huge game against the 49ers last week and he stood out and everyone was like, yeah, this guy is a star as well. He is what Jadeveon Clowney is supposed to be, or... Because when Jadeveon Clowney came out, another top-ranked player in college, freak athlete, but he never developed as a pass rusher. Myles Garrett has come out, and he is this pass rusher, and he is this guy. He completely changes how the offense plays without doing anything, by just being on the field.
Because his job is to get after the quarterback and crush him, basically.
Basically, like in the very simplest, most rudimental terms, if you don't commit 2 people to him, he's going to get to your quarterback. So now you've only got 11 players, you've only got 5 or 6 blockers, you've got to commit 2 to him, and then there's another guy, Olivia Vernon's coming off the other side. That means he gets no help all the time. And that's not what happens on every single snap, but that's kind of the impact he has on the game.
And so with 5 seconds left in the game which they've clearly won because they're 21-7 up, and there's no way that the Steelers are getting back into it, he finds himself on the ground having... Is it a late hit on the quarterback?
It's one of these borderline things where... As far as I know, it was a screen. It was either a screen or a flare pass where it's a quick throw outside to the left, which the point of that is we're going to throw the ball behind Garrett because it's an obvious passing down. It's the end of the game. They expect us to drop back and throw the ball. So we're playing to the idea of Garrett coming upfield and getting to the quarterback and throwing the ball behind him. So Garrett's on the edge of that where the ball comes out and Garrett's head is down as far as I can tell, and he's not really looking up. So he's tackled the quarterback, he hits the quarterback. But the problem is... he connects with the quarterback, and at that point, he should be like, okay, the ball's gone, knock him over or whatever, and go turn and chase the ball. He keeps hold of him. He keeps, and Rudolph holds himself up and fends him off a little bit, and then Garrett drags him down again. So at that point, you know the ball is gone, because you're in his chest. So you know you can't feel the ball.
Yeah.
So he shouldn't still be continuing at that point. Then it gets to the ground, and you can see, like, the only thing I could find was Rudolph grabs his helmet and grabs his face mask a little bit and tries to push him into the ground. But then Garrett just loses his mind. And he grabs his face mask on the ground. He tries to take it off, and he doesn't get it off the first time, which is one thing. The second time, he drags it again. And that on itself that's not a nice feeling. Like, you're getting this
whiplash,
ripping off your ears and pulling off your face. And then he takes it and swings it over his head, and it's just... insanity.
Gets the helmet off and swings it at Mason Rudolph's head and hits him on the head.
It's more like, I was literally just Googling it up, looking at what people were saying about it, and RTE have an article on it where it says attacks. Like, that's not normally the word we use. It's like a heavy hit or an unnecessary roughness or stuff like that, but attacking someone, and you can't disagree with it.
Yeah, there's... you can... So, we woke up to this morning. America went to bed last night and has been dreaming about what they're going to say on the talk shows this morning. So, if you want a little bit of voyeuristic... If you want to see a man being killed in public, turn on Pro Football Talk on Sky and keep going, because Mike Florio was straight off going, he should be banned for life!
That's what Mike Florio does, though.
I actually like Mike Florio. I find myself tuning into that show every day and enjoying it.
I'll tell you this. I woke up this morning and the first tweet I saw was Myles Garrett attempted murder last night, and I hadn't seen the game live, so I was very, very confused on what was going on. And then, we haven't even talked about Marquise Pouncey's role in that.
So just to explain who Marquise Pouncey is.
Marquise Pouncey is a centre. He's got a brother named Mike Pouncey who plays in the league. They're together are kind of notorious for being
bad boys.
Yeah, I guess
so
that's the best way to put it.
He plays with the Steelers. It's literally his job to protect the quarterback who's just been beaten up by this massive defensive end.
Yeah, so for 4 quarters, they're hitting into each other. They're the two guys. They're the guys you don't see, you don't watch them because they don't touch the ball.
But there's a lot of trash talk going on in there.
Probably, and especially when you're talking about a Pouncey. Well, actually, probably not with the centre, because the centre has to set the protections and talk to the quarterback and all that kind of stuff. And like we said, Garrett's supposedly quiet. So, and when they were actually asked after the game, they said there was no talk, there was nothing said. We were expecting something kind of more problematic coming out of it, because that's the reaction the way you'd think it was. But anyway, Pouncey is the centre, so in general, the quarterback in the NFL, it's not treated like another position. It's treated like this kind of guy who's on a pedestal, a guy who needs to be protected.
Yeah.
And every single offensive lineman in the league will take massive pride in the idea that if you do anything bad to my quarterback, we're going to give it 10 times worse back to you. And what Garrett did was really bad. And then Pouncey came in and was throwing, and you don't see this in American sports anymore. You don't see it ever since Ron Artest and Steven Jackson in Detroit years and years ago, when they went into the crowd and punched fans and got banned for 80 games or whatever it was, something crazy. You don't see players throwing full punches in the league.
Well, especially because
they're wearing helmets.
Exactly. So it's kind of counterintuitive, but these were landing, were they?
Well, yeah, well,
because they managed to get Myles Garrett down.
Yeah, Myles Garrett wouldn't have been hurt by any of this. But Pouncey is extremely lucky, because his reaction was when the guy was on the ground to kick him in the head.
So I don't think he's lucky. I think he's going to get done for that. I think that.
Well, no, but he's lucky in the sense that he'll only get suspended.
Right.
If
nothing bad.
You could have snapped the dude's neck if he wasn't wearing a helmet. And at that point, Pouncey probably has no idea if he's wearing a helmet or not, because he's just seeing flashing in front of him and reacting the way it is. So the thing that concerns me is, if you're out and about and something like that happens, that can't be your reaction. And Myles Garrett can't do what he did either, because he connects with Mason Rudolph and with the helmet and that. But it does feel to me, just looking at the coverage this morning, Garrett is obviously terrible what he's done, and he deserves all the criticism he's getting. We're kind of overlooking Pouncey a little bit.
I think Pouncey's I think that he's going to suffer, and there's one of the other Browns who come in. Rudolph is kind of wandering away from it. Yeah, and he pushes Rudolph to the ground, so he's going to get done as well. I think there's going to be enough suspensions to go around, but is there a possibility that this isn't a massive, long suspension? They're going to try and find a way to make an example of this because, kids, blah, blah, blah.
I'm not 100% certain on it. I know that you can do different things in reaction to extreme incidents. The thing about the American sports and the way you have to understand the way they work, they're done on collective bargaining agreements. So all of the rules are set by the players' union and the owners together. So they have to agree on these things, and they have to be done. And that's why there's always so many lawyers involved in football. There's always so much litigation. That's why you see these suspensions getting appealed all the time, because they have to follow this very specific set of rules. I think on this one, it's going to be difficult for Garrett, because while the Players Association has to stand up for him and has to do all this, nobody's going to be on his side.
It's hard, unless it is hard. He needs to get his side out there pretty quickly, and
he had an opportunity till last night, and he apologised, he owned it, but he didn't explain anything.
No, I'd say I have a feeling that there was still a lot of adrenaline in the system.
Probably.
He should be on Oprah today. If I was managing him, I'd be like, look, straight on to Oprah. Look, this is not who I am.
I don't think that's Oprah's.
Here's me reading poetry. Here's my ma. I'm really sorry. This is.